the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served. That good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service and honor shall be given to the deserving, country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Honourable members, shall state the day's proceedings. The correction of votes and proceedings for Thursday, February 10th, 2022. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. Page 19. Page 20. Yes, another member for Norton.
Mr. Speaker, page 20, the Committee on Employment and State Enterprises. Enterprises has been spelled wrongly with enterprises. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Page 21. Page 22. Page 23. Page 24. In the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Thursday, February 10th, is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honourable members, we have one official report. The official report of Monday, December 21st, 2021. Any corrections? Yes, Honourable Member for Norton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please, at column 74, the second paragraph, I was referring to diplomatic mission, and not relation, mission. And just after that, the Pacific Alliance is made up of, not was. Should be is made up of. At column 75, second paragraph, Mr. Speaker, I was alluding to the fact that we already pay about $7.5 million Ghana cedis in rent alone, because we do not own every property, not properties. We do not own every properties in the 60 missions we have abroad. So please insert every before properties. And the paragraph below that, Mr. Speaker, I also note that trade, I also note, not noted, note. Finally, Mr. Speaker, at column 76, the last line of the last paragraph, it should be liberation, total liberation. So if these corrections could be effected accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yes, any further corrections? In the absence of any further corrections, the official report of Monday, 20th December 2021 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honourable members, item 5, business statement for the 4th week. Honourable Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to undertake this on behalf of the chair of the committee. Mr. Speaker, the committee met on Thursday to agree on a proposed program for the ensuing week. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, these were the conclusions. First, Mr. Speaker, may read any formal communication as available. And then again, Mr. Speaker, it's being proposed that 52 questions in all be answered by ministers in the ensuing week. Oral questions, answers are expected, 51, and then those that would be considered as urgent is just 1. Mr. Speaker, statements would be admitted by you as and when it gets to your desk, and same can be considered under Order 72. Mr. Speaker, papers, motions, and referrals to committees may also be so done as and when they become available. And Mr. Speaker, the almighty e-levy, which government is looking forward to use these revenues to develop our road sector and also to support the private sector, especially our young entrepreneurs who want to start their own businesses and find sourcing capital from the bank's expensive. Government intends to come back to us next week for us to consider. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important bill. And last week we said there's going to be a withdrawal and relaying. Mr. Speaker, it has become prudent to rather look at an amendment, considering the fact that the Committee on Finance has done quite a lot of work. So the key issue, money consensus on, especially the rate that Ghanaians were talking about, they need to bring it down. Even the minority side also said same, except that they retreated to zero tolerance. But even at a point, they wanted 1%. But Mr. Speaker, even at a point, until you retreated, it came from your leader. So, Mr. Speaker, such an important amendment would have to be done on the House floor, at least to let Ghanaians know that in spite of all the difficulties, the government is a listening government, and yes, government would have withdrawn it and not bring it at all, but we all know the COVID situation is having effect on all governments all over the world, and then we need revenue to fix two important sectors, the road sector, and specifically government has indicated that the road sector, we need to fix our roads. So, Mr. Speaker, the State of the Nation address, a message on the State of the Nation. Mr. Speaker, we propose that we take it on the 3rd of March, of course, in consultation with the presidency. Mr. Speaker, I have attached here too the program for the ensuing week, which starts from Tuesday. So each day's program has been so attached for members to go through, and if there are matters to be considered, members are being encouraged to work through their whips so that look at them. Mr. Speaker, having said all of these, I move this House to accordingly adopt this report to enable us proceed with the business of the ensuing week in accordance with Order 162 and Order 53 of the rules of this House. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Yes, honourable members, any comments? Yes, honourable member for Elembele.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me thank the Deputy Majority Leader for the business statement. Mr. Speaker, in presenting the business statement number 4 on the yield levy, the leader was emphatic that the minister will be here in the House to withdraw the old and replace it with a new one. But Mr. Speaker, we were told that last week, this side of the House, minority side, have been ready and willing, ready to work and support government. And you don't have yourself organized. We've been here, you've been talking and promising that you are bringing yield levy. Please let me speak. Promising that you are bringing the yield levy. We are ready in our numbers, ready to do business for the people of Ghana. Give us assurance today that you are serious about what you intend to do this week. Second, let me, Mr. Speaker, I also he also stated that the intention is to consult the presidency on the State of the Nation address. The Speaker, I think the Constitution was very clear. The President is to give the State of the Nation address at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year. And we are now being told that this will be given, they will consult and then decide whether it will be done in March. Mr. Speaker, this government is late in everything. Can we have assurance that indeed the State of the Nation will be given on the 3rd of March? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Adams.
Thank you very much, Speaker. And let me join in thanking the Deputy Majority Leader for the statement so presented. Mr. Speaker, a number of issues were advertised in the business statement for last week, and we got very good assurances that we are really going to consider that. The Student Loan Trust, the next reading, and it kept appearing on the business statement. Last week, it came. This week, it came a number of times. Then it vanished. And it vanished. The e-levy, we know you don't even know whether to bring it back or to take it away. What we already know and we want is not reflected, and it is my hope, Mr. Speaker, that the business committee will make sure that we consider the student loan trust issue in the ensuing week. Mr. Speaker, I'm equally also concerned about the rescheduling of ministers who are to appear to answer questions on the floor. Sometimes the notice gets to the member asking the question so short. And I've observed that we sometimes schedule only one minister. And so when the person gives an excuse of not coming, we virtually don't get the opportunity of doing much. I wish that if there's going to be any rescheduling, the notice should come early enough for members to know. And the last issue, Mr. Speaker, I want to raise is that for a very long time, a number of issues have come up that we need to consider as a group talking about Parliament. We've not had a chance of having a joint caucus for a very long time. I think the time is up for the business committee to consider that we have a joint caucus to discuss some very important and pertinent matters that may not be appropriate putting them maybe in the plenary section, which is public. So that's my request to the business committee to consider a joint caucus meeting within this period. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
All right. Honorable Samson, I intend to give those who have not spoken the first opportunity. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the road from Bodi to Ahibenso is so deplorable. About 3 months ago, I filed an urgent question to ask the Minister for Road and Highways when that road will be constructed. Last week, I complained. This week, I have seen that they've tabled only one urgent question to be answered by the Road and Highways Minister. Man is absent. Can the deputy leader? Last week, he was trying to explain that it is not in the power, in the domain of the business committee to schedule when minister is supposed to answer the question. But he knows that after the speaker has approved it, everything is given to them. Can you tell me, can you assure the people of Bodi, when this deplorable road will be tabled for the minister to come and respond, so that they will have assurance that their road will be worked on? Mr. Speaker, this is very urgent to myself and very important to the people of Bodi. Can the deputy majority leader give a firm assurance? Firm assurance. This one, I don't want any excuses or whatever, to ensure that that road is constructed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
To respond to Honorable Ahi now. Let other ones come. Oh, West, please. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just on record, the Honorable Deputy Leader stated on item 4, page 1, that the electronic transfer levy bill, which was supposed to be withdrawn and represented on Tuesday, will not be done again because the minister has given indication that he will not be ready. Mr. Speaker, as far as some of us are concerned, the bill is for this House and is the property of this House. I don't see why the minister will be telling us initially that he wanted to withdraw the bill and later on come back and say he will not be ready for it. This House is ready to do business with the bill. And if the minister is not ready, I believe we could go ahead and work with the bill because it's our property. Even when he was not here, his deputy, the two deputies were here to work with us. So I don't see why he will not be available. Even if he's not available, his deputy will not be here for us to do business with the almighty e-levy that some people thought that some people are against the development of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I think you need to rule on this matter. That since it's the property of this House, you must go ahead to do whatever is needed to be done. Thank you. I need your guidance on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, leader. Kindly take this, then we come to announce.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ama Kofi-Boah. Honorable Ama Kofi-Boah, MP for Elembele. Mr. Speaker, it's good to be ambitious. Be proud of your ambition. Be proud of your ambition. You are a star of the West.
Honorable Leader, what you made, don't comment on
Yeah,
what you
that is
said
so, Mr.
outside
Speaker.
the mic.
That is so.
Please.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. You've been in politics, you allowed the Nana to overtake you. You don't want to go back. Mr. Speaker, he raised an issue of government being late. It's not an issue of government being late. It's the business committee that communicated to the presidency of a convenient time. We communicated to the presidency, not the presidency dictating to us. So just for the records. Then Honorable Samson Ahi, MP for Bodi, wanted to know about the road, the construction of the Bodi where? Bodi Ahimensu. You want to know about the construction. Samson Ahi, Honorable. You want that road to be constructed? Mr. Speaker, he knows what to do. That is correct. Because you filed the question, government wanted to get the e-levy through so that the road can be fixed. Mr. Speaker, I would plead with Honorable Ahi. You know, Mr. Speaker, last week, Honorable J.J. Jenapo indicated that because of this e-levy, members on their side who have medical reviews have still not gone, including himself. He said so. And I encourage you to go. Go for your medical reviews so that we can get this thing done. Mr. Speaker, nothing useful to add.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, last week when the Deputy Majority Leader presented the business statements on behalf of the Majority Leader, I drew his attention to a motion on the Get Fund. And because since Parliament resumed in January, this issue has not found space in any of the business statements or the other paper. I reminded him. I thought this week something would be found in the business statement, but that is not so. I would like to find out from him or the business committee when this will be taken, so that this motion and all other motions that have been advertised over the period. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, there is, as Honorable for Boehm said, this student loan trust fund amendment bill. It found space last year before we went on recess under a certificate of urgency. An issue of urgency like this, I'm sure that's why the committee also worked on it as quickly as possible. Now, every day it finds space in the other paper, but we are not taking it. I would like to find out from the business committee and the majority leader or deputy majority leader what is preventing the House from taking the amendments on the student loan transfer bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Tamale North.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I wish to thank the Business Committee for coming up with a comprehensive itinerary for the week. But, Mr. Speaker, I wish to crave your indulgence to make a passionate appeal to the Business Committee to, if possible, accommodate a request that I make, guided by Article 167 of the 1992 Constitution, which, with your permission, I quote 167A and B. The functions of the National Media Commission are to promote and ensure the freedom and independence of the media for mass communication or information. B, to take all appropriate measures to ensure the establishment and maintenance of the highest journalistic standards in the mass media, including the investigation, mediation, and settlement of complaints made against or by the press or other mass media. The Speaker, guided by this provision of the 1992 Constitution, and given growing concerns in our country over the seemingly state involvement because of the characters who represent the state in the harassment and, in some cases, the detention of media personnel. Mr. Speaker, in the last couple of days, 3 media personnel are said to have been arrested by state agencies. On this note, I wish to appeal to the Business Committee to invite the National Media Commission, through the Minister of Information, to brief this House on the developments on the media front, especially in relation to the arrest and detention of Mensah Thompson of Asekpa, Bobia Ansah, and whether or not the National Media Commission is still in the business of protecting press freedom in this country. Mr. Speaker, this is especially important given the precarious nature of the sub-region and the question for, whether or not our democracy is fit for purpose. Mr. Speaker, I think it is important that the Business Committee makes accommodation for the House to be briefed next week by the National Media Commission through the Minister of Information. I plead and I thank you for the opportunity.
And enter.
Finally.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I would also plead if we could invite, if the House could invite the Minister for Education to come in and brief the House on the current impasse. The UTAG strike has been running for close to 5 weeks now, and it doesn't seem to be ending. There was a court case that required that they try and settle it out of court, and as at yesterday, it had not been successful. So with your leave, I'm pleading that if next week we would make space and invite the Minister to come and brief the House on the status of the impasse and what government is doing to resolve it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Leader, I filed a question seeking answers from the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources regarding water crisis in Sankana and the Nodoli-Kaleo constituency. In the notice of questions, it was listed as question number 301. The Minister is due to be in the House on Thursday, 17 February, to answer questions. I see that in the roster of questions respective to the Ministry from 292, 296, 297, you skip 301 and you go to 302 till 426. Is it an omission? If it is, can you please take necessary steps so that it can be included? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy Majority Leader indicates on the second page under item number 4 that, quote, the sponsoring minister has given an indication that he will not be ready next week. And that is in reference to the finance minister on the rather obnoxious e-levy. Mr. Speaker, is the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader able to tell this House why the minister will not be ready next week? And why is it that as a House, it will appear that we are being subjected to what is going on that is about the minister's readiness? Does that not undermine the authority of this House, the authority of your committee, the business committee? Because, Mr. Speaker, this matter was presented, the finance committee deliberated, presented a report to this House. We are masters of our own rules. We should be in control of our own calendar. And the constitutional provisions are very clear. So why is it that a finance minister can hold all of us virtually to ransom? He doesn't give us any reason. We are not given any reason why he's not ready.
Another question.
So the Deputy Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker, should tell us why is it that Parliament is being taken through this and why the Finance Minister is not ready. Mr. Speaker, finally, it is this is an appeal to our colleagues on the other side. We all want to create an atmosphere of mutual respect for each other and cordiality. And so, in as much as we wish the leader of this House and the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs a belated happy birthday, even though he did not invite us to his party or inform us, some of us take strong exception to what happened in the course of the week, where
Yes, Honorable Leader, you may wish to answer.
Mr. Speaker, the concerns of Honorable MP for Akachi North and my own respected colleague Kofi Adams, I believe these are matters that we can together follow up and address. Member of Parliament for Nandole Kalio. Yes. You wanted to know about your question, why it's been skipped. I would encourage you to liaise with your leadership so that together the table office could be notified to do the needful. Okay. Now, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Sihini, on this media issue, I think that first the appropriate platform must be used for the issue he raised. I understand he filed a statement even before waiting for admissibility. He decided to litigate his matter, but that's all right. That's all right. It's part of parliamentary advocacy. That's all right. I agree with you. But Mr. Speaker, on the flip side, we may also have to look at encouraging our media practitioners to also have a look at the reportage. You know, especially in this era where we have a lot of bloggers. The kind of misrepresentation and all that should be of concern to all of us. We shouldn't wait for it to be us before, until you become a victim of it and all that. So please, let's look at it and encourage them to be vibrant, to report, to write the news, but to be very objective in the way they do their thing. So that's about it. And the Speaker, I heard Honorable Ablakwa, well, I think he was focusing more on politics than using the opportunity to address a genuine concern for business committee. Yes. So I think we leave it as it is. Mr. Speaker, I think there's nothing more useful.
There is.
To add. Yes, Ramadan.
Member for Denta raised the issue relating to bringing the Minister for Education to speak to the retired emperors.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, he and I know, and that's Honorable Ramadan. Mr. Speaker, when he came to the House, I took time to take him through the procedure. And he knows that if he's genuinely concerned, he should file a question. If you want to know about some of these things, or go through your committee chair, the committee can engage the minister. What committee do you serve on? Yes.
Honorable Leader, the leadership can also
yes, Mr. Speaker, yes.
for the minister
yes.
to address
Mr. Speaker, that is correct. Mr. Speaker, I taught him a lot of the rules. He's not applying them correctly. So, Mr. Speaker, he should file a question or make a statement on it, so we would escalate it from there.
But would the leadership consider?
But Mr. Speaker, I can.
This is not addressed at you.
Mr. Speaker, it appears that his application is finding favor.
No, not just his application. The issue is finding favor.
Very well.
Because our university students are stranded. Whatever is happening, I think we the representatives are entitled to know. So it may be appropriate for us to program for the minister to address the House so we can share whatever our own opinion and other views.
Mr. Speaker, I'm guided.
Yes, Honorable Leader.
Speaker, I ordinarily would have just let pass some of the issues that have been raised, but just for the purpose of the record, and this one is a matter that the table should be able to handle. I see somewhere page 1, question 525. Wherever you have Minister for Communication, I've seen you add and digitalization. But in 525, the digitalization is lost. So make sure that you are consistent. It should be Minister for Communications and Digitalization in 525. Mr. Speaker, just for abundance of caution, you have guided the deputy leader who is holding forth for the majority leader in presenting the business statement. Two important issues have been raised, Mr. Speaker. Our universities have been closed down following the strike of the University Teachers Association of Ghana, which is affecting and disrupting normal academic life in all our tertiary institutions. Our young students are affected, it's impacting them even in terms of their stay. And Mr. Speaker, it's appropriate, as you've guided the deputy leader, that the Honorable Minister for Education and Employment are requested, or Mr. Speaker, as it may please you, the Employment Committee of Parliament must take interest in this particular matter. Industrial disputes are inevitable, they would happen, but when it takes a longer period to resolve them, it paralyzes normal academic life. So, leader, take Mr. Speaker's guidance much more seriously, and don't let that attract the flimsy side of you as you observe. Mr. Speaker, my second and final will be to refer you again to page 2 on e-levy, and to let Deputy Leader appreciate that on the matter of the Ghanaian economy, you are not just speaking to the Parliament of Ghana, you are speaking to the world and speaking to the market and speaking to the international community on a matter which affects our fiscal consolidation effort in the matter of a revenue measure of e-levy. Last week on the same table, you said there will be a withdrawal of the bill and a reintroduction of a new bill. Today, you seem to be talking about amendment. Mr. Speaker, what amendment? And Mr. Speaker, permit me again, there is something going on that we should express our disquiet strongly about. Order 169, Mr. Speaker, may I refer you to it, provides the Committee on Finance shall be composed of 25 members, to which shall be referred bills, inquiries, and other matters relating to finance and the economy generally. So as far as we are concerned, a bill known as the Electronic Transfer Bill was introduced in this House and referred appropriately to the Finance Committee. My strong view is that even in the search and elucidation of views and inputs, it does not lie in the Minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta. It lies in our Finance Committee. What he ought to do under Article 106 is his explanatory memorandum, which accompanied the bill. But to go around the country town hall, that is not his responsibility. He is not Parliament, and he's not the Finance Committee of Parliament. There is a bill before this House, appropriately referred to our Finance Committee. If there must be engagement, the engagement should be the Finance Committee of Parliament. This afterthought or corrective measures of him, if he had railroaded the bill through the certificate of urgency he came with, will he be consulting the public? So, Mr. Speaker, we should get things right. Our rules and the Constitution imposes this authority and mandate in our Finance Committee, not the Minister for Finance. We will not sit down for him to usurp our small power and authority. We know he has power and authority to say, Scanu Neo, Minister, I don't have money, Mr. Speaker. But he has no mandate to go around the country on behalf of the Finance Committee of Parliament. As to when you bring e-levy, as I've always assured you, we are ready for you. You are struggling, and you won't let Ghanaians know that you are struggling. This is the first time a majority, you work out on your budget, you bring a bill 2 months into it on revenue measure, is not passed, and then you come for withdrawal, you walk back on amendment because you are searching for numbers. That is not even how parliaments are run, Mr. Speaker. So the Minister for Finance doesn't have a mandate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I accept that you are struggling.
Yes.
I would like to
stand here. I would like to stand here. That place is too diplomatic. Mr. Speaker, that place is too diplomatic to respond to his punchlines. Mr. Speaker, with your leave, I will stand here to respond to you. Mr. Speaker, yes, this is the same minority that said the government should engage the people of Ghana. This is the same minority leader who said he agrees for 1%. Now when the Minister of Finance is engaging the Ghanaian people, you again say that he should not engage them. We shouldn't explain, considering the propaganda doing the rounds. Mr. Speaker, only yesterday, the minority leaders party telling Ghanaians that they don't like too much taxes. They said they will not introduce e-levy. But should they come, they will introduce different forms of taxation. Where do you start? This inconsistency. Mr. Speaker, that is unfair to the Minister of Finance. The submissions by the minority leader, with the greatest respect, cannot be fair to the Minister of Finance. He is not doing that on behalf of Parliament. The Minister of Finance is going around educating Ghanaians on government policy. And what is he telling Ghanaians? What the Finance Minister is telling Ghanaians? He's saying two things. One, that the roads are bad. We want to fix the roads. That we know that our revenue sources are not sufficient. We have identified some areas that are low-hanging fruit we want to tap into. And that is why we are introducing this electronic transaction levy. Mr. Speaker, as usual, they won't listen. We were quiet. This place was quiet when the minority leader was making the submission. Me, I know you will be quiet. So, Mr. Speaker, what the finance minister has been doing has been to educate the people of Ghana. Explain. Yes, it doesn't matter. Better late than never. Better late than never. We took a cue from whatever you said. That is why, that is the essence of democracy. The reason for the amendment is as a result of the listening posture of government. You were ready for 1% until your hardliners attacked you and you gave up. Your hardliners were all over on your neck. You were ready for 1%. What did you do? You couldn't stand on your feet. You ran away and you gave up. Even some of your backbenchers wanted to take your seat for calling for 1%. I'm responding to him. Mr. Speaker, so the minority NDC is on 1%. The government is on 1.5%. You said you want 1%. The NDC, you said you want 1%. We helped your leader. He said so. Until your hardliners and the backbenchers.
Now, you have finished your. You have finished your. Can we return to the business statement?
So, Mr. Speaker, all I am saying is that the contention that, leader, allow me to finish. You will have your turn again. Mr. Speaker, the contention that the finance minister is usurping the powers of the parliament is never true. He is explaining government policy. He is telling Ghanaians that the e-levy would be used for road works, and then also to support the entrepreneurial drive of our young graduates. That is what the Minister of Finance is telling Ghanaians to explain, because there were a lot of misunderstanding, confusion, people didn't understand. You raised some of these concerns. So the Minister of Finance is out there to tell Ghanaians that these monies will be used to develop the country. That is all. That is all. And Mr. Speaker, on the issue of withdrawal and amendment,
let's return to the
Mr. Speaker, on the issue of withdrawal and amendment, it's one and the same. If you bring a bill and you have the view that you should withdraw it wholly and introduce a new bill, it's within your rights. You, the one introducing it, can do that. However, if you think that you should only amend and proceed, the rules again allow us. So I don't see how we got it wrong on that. I thank you, Mrs. Speaker.
Honorable Minority Leader, do you want to say something? Otherwise, I'm bringing the curtain down. Minority Leader, you're on your feet.
Mr. Speaker, it says the minority agreed to 1%. Mr. Speaker, I'm not aware that being part of the record of this House. It is only in his imagination. But the appropriate time, I will school him on e-levy and the charges within that industry. As I said, Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the incidence of e-levy is 3.75% and not even 1.75%. And thus, what we call the back-to-back charges by the telecos of 1% in and 1% cash out. It is within that narrative I was speaking to, but for the record, nobody in this caucus have proffered an amendment at 1%. I contributed to the debate on the matter, and I contributed even to thresholds to deal with core poor. So please, for the record, let it remain that it's your imagination. But appropriately, Mr. Speaker, when we come to the second reading, I'll explain myself better. Thank you.
Very well. The business statement, this is the end regarding the business statement is adopted for next week. Now, we'll move to statements. The first statement admitted is in the name of the Honourable Member for Offenso South, Honourable Isaac Yao Opoku.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to present a statement on the celebration of this year's National Chocolate Day to this august House. Love your Ghana cocoa, cocoa from us with pride. Our pride, our cocoa, is the theme for this year's celebration. Mr. Speaker, on the occasion of the 2022 National Chocolate Day celebration, which falls on Monday, the 14th of February, we wish the Tetekwashi family, our cherished cocoa farmers, processors, traders, cocoa value chain actors, policymakers, government officials, foreign partners, and consumers of cocoa in Ghana and all over the world a happy and a successful celebration. Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Tourism Authority instituted the commemoration of this day in 2005 in partnership with Ghana Cocoa Board and the Cocoa Processing Company to coincide with the Valentine's Day. The day is meant to raise awareness of the need for the public to patronize cocoa products as a means of helping generate more revenue for national development and to improve our general well-being. Mr. Speaker, cocoa has so many health benefits and uses, and I pray that one day Ghana will be in a position to process all of our cocoa, or at least the greater part of cocoa produced in the country, to improve our national economy. Cocoa can be used for the production of soaps, cosmetic products, wine, whiskey, brandy, jam, vinegar, marmalade, bitters, animal feed, and fertilizers. Mr. Speaker, cocoa powder can also be incorporated into our traditional diets, such as banku, soups, baked products, breakfast cereals, and many more. Mr. Speaker, this statement is intended to raise awareness about the health benefits of cocoa consumption. Mr. Speaker, according to the USDA, the macronutrient breakdown for 1 tablespoon of cocoa is as follows: protein 5.4 grams, fat 0.7 grams, carbohydrates 3.1 gram, fiber 1.8 grams. Cocoa powder also contains important micronutrients, including magnesium, potassium, copper, manganese, and iron. Cocoa is also rich in polyphenols, flavonoids, and niacin. Mr. Speaker, the consumption of cocoa may enhance mood. It is no coincidence that eating chocolate usually makes one feel happy. Even though you probably attributed those warm and foxy feels to the sugar found in chocolate, cocoa itself can enhance your mood for the better. Several reviews show cocoa polyphenols can put you not only in a happier mood, but also help alleviate mental stress and chronic fatigue syndrome. Research has shown that women who frequently ate chocolate during pregnancy had babies with lower stress levels and better moods. It has also been proven that consumption of cocoa powder helps minimize the suffering of people from mental exhaustion and chronic fatigue by releasing calming neurotransmitters like serotonin. Cocoa and cocoa powder has been shown to promote feeling of contentment and lower symptoms of depression. Mr. Speaker, cocoa is also known for its aphrodisiac properties, and those who consume raw cocoa powder and cocoa bitters produced by the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana will pay ample testimony to this. Mr. Speaker, cocoa and cocoa powder may be able to lower blood pressure. Studies have shown that people who consumed high amounts of flavanol-rich cocoa or cocoa powder saw their blood pressure lowered significantly in the short term. They suggested that cocoa may be an effective natural treatment for hypertension. The cocoa flavanols found in dark chocolate have also been known to help people with type 2 diabetes lower their inflammation, improve blood sugar control, significantly improve insulin sensitivity, and lower fasting insulin. Cocoa consumption may improve brain health. Mr. Speaker, Boston-based researchers have reported that flavanol-rich chocolate may boost blood flow in the brain and reduce the risk of dementia and stroke. The polyphenols and flavanols in cocoa powder are also anti-inflammatory, which may help improve your heart health. Flavanols in cocoa may be able to significantly prevent blood clots and buildups from blocking blood flow in your vessels and arteries, preventing the development of cardiovascular disease. Mr. Speaker, cocoa consumption may help with skin care. We know too well that cocoa butter is commonly used in a variety of cosmetic products. Cocoa has become particularly important in the range of skin care products because of its ability to soften and lubricate the skin. It is also said to have strong antioxidants properties, which can help maintain the skin's general health, as well as to prevent visible signs of aging, such as wrinkling. Likewise, cocoa butter taps into growing consumer demands for natural-based products. This makes the ingredient part of a worldwide market that is currently estimated to be valued at $10 billion and has been experiencing double-digit growth rates year on year. A new research, Mr. Speaker, suggests that cocoa drinks rich in flavanol could help consumers do mathematics. Following a small study, researchers at the University of Northumbria found that high level of cocoa flavanols present in chocolate improved cognitive performance in arithmetic tests. Mr. Speaker, cocoa consumption can prevent cancer. Cancer is the second leading cause of death in the world. When free radicals from your diet and environmental pollutants damage cells, they can cause dangerous mutations that can lead to cancer. However, scientists have discovered that a substance that can help your body fight free radical damage, lower oxidative stress, and cancer risk. These powerful plant compounds are found in dark-colored fruits and vegetables like raspberry, blueberries, kale, and cocoa beans. Mr. Speaker, studies have shown that cocoa can stop the growth and reproduction of prostate cancer cells without affecting growth and functioning of healthy cells. Mr. Speaker, consumption of cocoa can help with weight loss. If losing weight is your main goal when following a keto diet, you may be able to use cocoa powder as part of your weight loss plan. Cocoa has been shown to help lower obesity-related inflammation, suppress appetite, feel fuller for longer, prevent fat storage, and increase fat burning. Consumption of cocoa can promote better dental health. One review showed that theobromine, which is present in cocoa, can protect your tooth enamel and strengthen your teeth. Mr. Speaker, cocoa may relieve bronchial asthma. Cocoa beans contain xanthine and theophylline, which may aid in relaxing bronchial spasm and can open constricted bronchial tubes. This might give it anti-asthmatic properties and is valuable in curing various allergies, including asthma and shortness of breath. Research published in 2014 in the International Journal of Immunopathology and Pharmacology suggests that unsweetened cocoa powder can have anti-asthmatic properties as it contains theobromine. Mr. Speaker, consumption of cocoa and cocoa products may treat constipation. According to a study done on pediatric patients, consumption of fiber-rich cocoa products can result in faster colonic, rectal, and intestinal transit times. Mr. Speaker, cocoa consumption may aid in copper and magnesium deficiencies. The regular consumption of cocoa products may prove beneficial in preventing the adverse effects caused by diets lacking in copper and magnesium for an extended time. Mr. Speaker, the health benefits of consuming cocoa are enormous. It is therefore not surprising that Theobroma cacao, the Latin name for cocoa, means food of the gods. Historically, Mr. Speaker, the cocoa beans were so prized that the native tribes in the Amazon region of South America used them as a form of currency. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians are therefore encouraged to patronize made-in-Ghana chocolates and cocoa products and give them out as presents to their loved ones, especially on special occasions such as chocolate days. It is important to give children chocolates and other cocoa-based products on a daily basis to help them develop intellectually. The promotion of the National Chocolate Day is therefore a good initiative, and the support ought to be extended to all other goods made in the country. Long live Tetekwashi memories, long live National Chocolate Day, long live Mother Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
So starting from those who have not spoken today. Yes, Honorable Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this statement, which hinges directly on the fortunes of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, the day today is an important day as far as our marketing of cocoa and advertising the products to the rest of the world is concerned. As far as we know, cocoa was introduced into Africa in 1822 and was picked from where it's called, today is called the New World, and from a place called St. Tomé. But as far as Ghana is concerned, cocoa was brought here by our very dear Tete Kwashi at the age of 34, when in 1876 he hoarded it into this country, and since then it has become a symbol of growth, production, strength to our economy. Mr. Speaker, the type of cocoa grown in Ghana is called Forastero, because there are two populations of cocoa. But the one that is grown in Ghana and utilized here is called the Forastero. And it is generally admired throughout the world and utilized for the development of various products. But essentially, from the maker of the statement, cocoa has much more use in the human body than what we imagine. The painful thing, however, is that the production of cocoa in Ghana, even though it's only second to La Côte d'Ivoire, Ghanaians normally don't consume cocoa the way we should be consuming it. Because for every product, for everything to be admired by another and to have much use to you, you would have to consume it first. It does appear we still have a long way to go in convincing Ghanaians that this product is a God gift and this product is a driver of our economy into centuries to come. Mr. Speaker, so today is an important day, so we can utilize the day to reach out to the many, many Ghanaians who are still in doubt that cocoa is driving our lives, that we have to get back to it, and we need to take it seriously and ensure that the consumption of it is one of the key elements that can make cocoa continually lead our economy and continually be admired and consumed by the rest of the world. Mr. Speaker, the supply of cocoa to the world should definitely should not exclude our utilization of it here in the manufacturing industry. We need to utilize that opportunity, set up companies, set up factories that can utilize the cocoa product. We are yet to get to that limit. And that's the point we often examine ourselves to know where we are going, whether we actually are serious cocoa producers. We know that Japan produces cars, Toyota, Nissan, and the rest. We know that General Motors produces a lot of vehicles in the United States. And in these places, they are the main consumers of the products. In Ghana, we produce cocoa as the second largest producers in the world. But when you come to Ghana, we don't consume cocoa as much as the rest of the world do. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that this day should always be used not as a day for people to go making fun with cocoa and enjoying themselves, but to soul search ourselves, to question ourselves, to appreciate who we are as far as our attachment to cocoa is concerned, so that with all the uses that have been spelled out, we can be the first beneficiary of cocoa production in Ghana. So, Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank the maker of the statement and also to say that we all have a duty. Each and every one of us here has a duty to reach out to the many people who are within our scope of operation, our social scope, to get them aware of the benefits of getting getting closer to cocoa as a pinnacle of our production structure and our source of livelihood as far as our economy is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I'll say.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Did you say you have been made what? Lemyansa something?
Yes.
Yes. Or something?
Yes.
And what's your school name?
Mr. Speaker, let me end it here, otherwise.
Very well.
Botanical names. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by the Honourable Member for Offensive South. Mr. Speaker, the cocoa industry has grown to the extent that Ghana has repositioned itself to be the second largest producer of cocoa in Africa. That's second to Cote d'Ivoire. Mr. Speaker, Ghana together with Cote d'Ivoire produce about 60% of world production of cocoa bean. Mr. Speaker, this day that is being celebrated was first launched by the late Honorable Jake Utanka Obechedi Lamte, the then Minister for Tourism and Diasporan Relations. Mr. Speaker, it was introduced or launched to augment activities that take place on the Valentine's Day. It actually was to replace whatever we do in the Valentine's Day, but it was later thought out to be a factor that will embellish whatever we do within the day. Mr. Speaker, the day had been set aside to promote the local consumption of chocolate and other cocoa-based products, and also make chocolate a gift of choice on Valentine's Day. Mr. Speaker, the event has been marked every year since its inception, with the Ministry of Tourism, Cocoa Board, and Cocoa Processing Company at the forefront. Mr. Speaker, the global chocolate industry is worth over 150 billion US dollars. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's, West Africa's share of this 150 billion US dollars is just a little above 6 billion. But most of the value in a bar of chocolate is generated in Europe and North Africa. Mr. Speaker, since cocoa, and for that matter chocolate consumption is important for the nation, the Cocoa Board, under the leadership of Honorable Boahin Edu, in the administration of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has come out with measures to support the processing of cocoa in the country. This is not limited to the few that I've enumerated here, Mr. Speaker. The live crop-sized beans, which is given to the local processing companies, is given to them at a 20% discount. Mr. Speaker, in addition, the AFDB facility of $600 million, which has been assessed to support the cocoa industry, has a component of about $200 million purposely earmarked for the processing of cocoa in the country. Mr. Speaker, measures to promote the consumption of cocoa in Ghana, chocolate consumption in Ghana, include a collaboration with the tourism industry. Chocolate, which is normally considered to be expensive by most of Ghanaians, especially the local cocoa farmers. It's been also added to gifts that is served at most of the hotels in Ghana. It is also being added, the processes are being discussed to the flagship program of school feeding, which was launched by this government. Mr. Speaker, it's being discussed that a cup of chocolate will be served as part of the breakfast our students have in the secondary schools. Mr. Speaker, the artisanal chocolate manufacturers are also being encouraged to support artisanal chocolate manufacturers are also being encouraged. Mr. Speaker, processors are also being encouraged to produce affordable chocolate with small sizes so that everybody in Ghana can also have a taste of it. Mr. Speaker, if you continue to support the cocoa industry, especially the chocolate manufacturers, in this direction, Mr. Speaker, Ghana will increase the share of the market in the world cocoa industry. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, and also ask the leadership to find a way of brainstorming to making sure we also enjoy cocoa every morning in Parliament. Being the chairman for Food and Agri and Cocoa Affairs Committee, Mr. Speaker, I've already started the talks with Cocoa Board to make sure we also have our share here in Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let me invite member for Techima North.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the debate. The statement ably made by the MP for Fenso. It's been well crafted, well researched, and he's taking pain to educate us about the health benefits of eating chocolate. Mr. Speaker, we need to bear in mind that the chocolate industry is huge globally. Globally, the chocolate industry is worth about 150 billion. West Africa produces 70% of this cocoa that we use for the production of chocolate. How much do we get as West Africa? Less than 6 billion. Why is it the case? Mr. Speaker, it is the case because we prefer to export raw cocoa. This is not helping us This is not helping us in any way at all. If the global value of chocolate is 150 billion and we are exporting 70% and making only 6 billion or less, we have to think, especially Ghana as a country, how we will benefit from cocoa, because the value is really huge. Mr. Speaker, the importance of chocolate has been enumerated here. How many of our farmers benefit from chocolate? How many of our children on the farms eat chocolate? They go to farm and produce this chocolate for us, but some of these rural children have not even tasted chocolate before. They don't even know what the cocoa is used for. I think that as a country, we should make the effort to help children in cocoa farming communities to also take the chocolate that they produce. What is more, farmers are lacking inputs. I can speak as Member of Parliament for Techima North. Even motorized sprayers continue to be a dream. You can only see the crude methods by which these farmers spray their cocoa. if we are benefiting from chocolate this much, if we think we are benefiting from cocoa this much, I think the government should rethink, look again, and invest more money in this cocoa industry. What is more? Ghana beyond aid, we should be looking for more industrialization in the area of cocoa, so that the many tons of cocoa, the 800,000 tons of cocoa that we produce in Ghana, we should try and add value to it so that we can benefit from the 150 billion in the chocolate industry globally. I thank you for the opportunity to add this to the word.
Colleague Crotty.
Mr. Speaker, I have information for you. Mr. Speaker, with respect.
I'm listening. I'm listening, leader.
We had agreed as leadership that we would do only 2-2. This was communicated to the chair before you assumed.
Well, but I've already called me.
Yeah,
I've already called her. So after I'll come to the leadership. So, colleague Crotty.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute towards the statement ably made by the Honourable Member. Mr. Speaker, given the history of cocoa in Ghana, it's quite unfortunate that perhaps the most famous edifice in honor of Tetekwashi is the Tetekwashi roundabout, or the overpass as it is. Mr. Speaker, Sao Tome and Principe can boast of a museum for chocolate, where people can visit and see how cocoa goes from its original state to its final state as chocolate and whatever products. Ireland can boast of the Guinness factory, where people can walk through the entire process from where the hops are harvested to the final product of Guinness and get a sample. And it's a wonder that at this stage, Ghana does not have such a museum or such a demonstration where people can actually take a walk through the history of cocoa as it started, as it was brought into Ghana, and see the various processes that it goes through to become the final product of chocolate, of cocoa butter, of cocoa powder, of the oils, and other byproducts. Mr. Speaker, this would be an important part in boosting our tourism, since Ghana is so well known for her cocoa. And incidentally, the chocolate, the cocoa from Ghana used to be a secret ingredient in some of the best Swiss chocolate. Switzerland does not produce chocolate, and yet somehow they've won several awards for the chocolate that they produce globally. Mr. Speaker, several byproducts of cocoa are the pulp, the sweatings, the cocoa pod, the husk, the ash, which can be used for black soap, which can be used for alcohol, which can be used for several things. And it would be good to see that we are doing a lot more of this on a large scale. If indeed we're talking about industrializing our economy, then we should see a lot more value addition to the products that we have here. If over 61% of cocoa is sent into Europe, we must also look at the options of organically produced cocoa, where we are mindful of the kind of chemicals that are used in order to ensure that our rating is kept high enough for those countries that are opting for more organic and non-genetically modified products. Given the antihypertensive effects of the cocoa, especially the dark chocolate, I would like to add my voice to the Member of Parliament who suggested that it should be made part of the daily intake for Members of Parliament, given the stressful lives that MPs have to go through, to ensure that they are keeping their blood pressure under check and ensure that they are staying healthy in order to continue to serve their constituents. I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, let me come to leadership. Yes, available leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the maker of the statement, Honorable Poku, MP for Finso, for a very well-researched statement on Chocolate Day. Mr. Speaker, the maker took the trouble to go into detail the benefits of cocoa, so that the benefits were very lengthy. Cocoa is good for not only healing cancer, weight loss, obesity, mental health. It's even an aphrodisiac, which is very, very important. I'm sure Honorable Afenyo Markins took note of that. But Mr. Speaker, I want to briefly focus on what is really important on this day and what, in my view, should be what we should be talking about on a day where we are talking about cocoa. Mr. Speaker, we should be talking more about the plight of cocoa farmers. What is the plight of cocoa farmers in Ghana? What is the state of cocoa roads in Ghana? We know the checkered history of cocoa roads and how in the last 4 years we've not seen progress on cocoa roads. That's a fact. Mr. Speaker, this is something that should worry all of us. Mr. Speaker, today should be a day we should be worried about the input that is needed by our cocoa farmers to produce more cocoa for us. Mr. Speaker, we can travel the length and breadth of the country in cocoa growing areas where cocoa are ready, produced with hard work, toil and suffering of ordinary cocoa farmers, and the challenge is how to basically get the cocoa out of the farms for us to export for very important foreign exchange. Mr. Speaker, today should be a day we should be talking about the plight of the children of cocoa farmers and whether or not cocoa scholarship that is meant for those farmers are reaching their children. Or is it going to affluent people who have nothing to do with cocoa? Mr. Speaker, this is very, very important because it is something that we must focus on. Today should also be a day that we should be talking about a point that has already been made. How do we add value and make sure we produce the chocolate in the quantities that will make a difference for us? Mr. Speaker, I've always talked about visiting Hershey's Park. Hershey's is a cocoa producer. And basically it's like a city. Employ more than 5,000 people. And what they've been able to do, they even have a museum showing how cocoa, the history of cocoa, and the sources of where they get the cocoa. And Ghana features prominently in the museum. And then I asked myself, do we even have a cocoa museum as a country where we produce cocoa? What steps are we taking to add value? The maker of the statement, Mr. Speaker, made a very important point about the health benefits. But we've listened to speeches every year about how we should make sure that our children, as part of the school feeding program, will drink cocoa drinks. Mr. Speaker, that too we've not been able to do. It should be that at every government function, the first thing you see is a cocoa drink flowing. If indeed we all agree that the health benefits are good, if we agree that the health benefits are something that will help our children, then we should push it and promote it as part of the school feeding program. We should strive to make sure that working closely with Côte d'Ivoire, jointly we produce 70% of the world cocoa. We can use this leverage to make a difference and add so much value to the cocoa, and the point was made about the numbers. How in God's world can a value of $150 billion a year, and we the producers of cocoa jointly in West Africa only strive to get 6 billion? If you want to know the reason we are poor, this is where the answer is. And we must vow on this day to say that we are going to take steps to change our circumstances. It will require bold decisions. It will require us to change the way we do things so that we can really transform our country's life and in the process change the lives of the farmers that produce cocoa. You want to know why young people are not interested in cocoa farming? because they've seen their grandfathers and their great-grandfathers. They go, they die poor. How do we change that story? To make sure that we can say that anybody who goes into cocoa farming will die very prosperous. That should be our resolve, even as we celebrate Chocolate Day. Mr. Speaker, I thank the maker of the statement.
Yes. Let me come to.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to also add my voice to the comments being made by members in respect of the statement by the Honorable Member for Ofinso South. Mr. Speaker, upon listening to him, I paid attention to his own CV, and that brought me to a point where I had no doubt the reason for the deep nostalgia with which he delivered his own statement, because he spent his whole life at Cocoa Board as a scientist, head of department, director. He knows Cocoa Board and he knows cocoa. So we thank him for sharing with us all that he knows about cocoa. Mr. Speaker, I listened to colleagues and they made very useful contributions. It may be superfluous though, but I'll repeat some of the very points as though they were mine. The Honorable Member for Techima North talked about consumption of cocoa. It's true. We hardly consume cocoa ourselves. And if we are producing cocoa and we are not consuming cocoa products in the country, how then do we hope to encourage investment? Because first, there must be local consumption, there must be local markets. If it's all about export, how then would anybody with his money look at that sector? I have with me Kingsby chocolate, golden tree. I'm sure not many people have been consuming these, and they may be buying foreign chocolate, imported chocolate. And Mr. Speaker, yes, Mr. Speaker, I will share. My colleagues are encouraging me to share this chocolate. I will share. I know Honorable Chief wants some. Hajia Zuera also wants some. But when I share, and Honorable Ablaka will also get some. And then my good friend, the available leader. But truth be told, I will share. And in sharing, bear in mind it's not for free. We are going to support e-learning. Mr. Speaker, this one, I've tagged this one. So I'm making, this is the unconditional one.
Mr. Speaker, if by any chance this chocolate is infected with any e-levy, we don't want it.
Mr. Speaker, this one is an e-levy infected chocolate. This one is for free. But I entertain no doubt about the prospect of this chocolate in ensuring general peace in this house. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to consume what we produce. We must. And that is the only way of creating the market. We must create the market ourselves. So I would want to add to the view expressed by my respected senior colleague, Honorable Member for Techima North. Then again, our honorable colleague from Kole Clote, Honorable Dr. Zenato Ajiman Rollins, drew our attention to the need to look at the value chain processing. This position expressed by her is rightly connected to the first point of consumption, because it is only when we consume that would encourage processing of cocoa locally, so that we can be part of the market. If we can't process and we have limited companies involved in the processing, then we are not doing justice to the legacy of Tete Kwashi, that young man who traveled and brought us this cocoa we have today. Mr. Speaker, I will encourage Cocoa Board to invest in technology, invest in the seedling production, invest in technology that would enhance harvesting and all other areas to help our farmers. Mr. Speaker, last year we had the good news that Cocoa Board was able to achieve the 1 million ton mark. That's very great news for us as a country. We don't want to be the second largest producer, but we want to become the first and the largest producer of cocoa. And not only that, the farmers would also get value for money. Mr. Speaker, I heard the news with joy when government, through Cocoa Board, introduced a farmer pension policy. And by the information available, it was not only the talk, but it's been implemented. And as we speak, trustees have been appointed to get the database through and ensure that farmers benefit from this in the long run. This is something we should celebrate, because all along and throughout the submission by the available leader, Honorable Amakofi Boa, his concern was about the plight of farmers, and I agree. So this intervention is one major intervention that government has made. If you look at the producer price, it's been generally stable. Look at the COVID situation we find ourselves. The market demand is really not encouraging, but government has been consistent with farmers, all with the aim of encouraging them to be in the farming business. Mr. Speaker, the records of this House will attest that Cocoa Board has reported of in supporting farmers with inputs, spraying machines, other extension services, and even dealing with the issue of viral diseases affecting our farmers through the facility they took from AFDB and all the programs that have been introduced so that farmers will not lose their livelihood. These, I believe, are positive steps that government and Cocoa Board have taken to help our farmers. But government can do more. Cocoa Board can do more. And I believe, as I end my submission, that if they invest in technology to deal with issues of waste, because in this time and age, Cocoa Board cannot continue to rely on the old system of running the administration. If they can invest in technology, they will do away with a lot of waste. And by doing away with a lot of waste, then they can have the needed resources to continue their drive to support our farmers. So, Mr. Speaker, having said all of these, I say to our gallant farmers, God bless you for sustaining the economy. Anytime they go on syndication and they get the dollars in, it stabilizes the economy. And who should take the glory? Our farmers. The leadership of Cocoa Board, led by Honorable Edu, JB Edu. He was one of us. He spent 12 years of his time in this house and he's providing leadership there. We know all that he's doing. He and his team, we say kudos. And the chair and the board, all of them, and our sector minister. We commend all of them and we pray that they will continue to do more to help the ordinary farmer who is helping to grow cocoa in the country. Mr. Speaker, having said all of this, I shall thank you without more.
Thank you very much. shall we take the second statement from Honorable Abra Jiva Gamashi, a member for K2 South, on International Day of Women and Girls in Science, which falls today. So, Honorable Member for K2 South, the floor is yours now. K2 South.
K2 South.
Yes. You may read your statement now.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to make a statement as we mark this important International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Mr. Speaker, 11th February of every year is designated as International Day of Women and Girls in Science by a resolution passed by the United Nations General Assembly on December 22, 2015. The International Day of Women and Girls in Science is coordinated by UNESCO and UN Women in collaboration with institutions and civil society partners that aim to promote women and girls in science. The day is an opportunity to promote full and equal access to participation in science for women and girls. Mr. Speaker, the 2022 theme for the celebration is Equity, Diversity and Inclusion. Water unites us. The theme is related to Article 17, Clause 1 and 2 of the 1992 Constitution, which guarantees gender equality and freedom of women and men, girls and boys from discrimination based on social or economic status, among others. Mr. Speaker, the National Gender Policy on Women Empowerment and Livelihood emphasizes increasing commitment and allocation of adequate resources to consolidate gender parity in all schools, starting from enrollment and retention in challenging areas or communities. It is also worth noting that gender equality is a key component of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by the same United Nations General Assembly in 2015, and also a distinct accelerator for the attainment of all other sustainable development goals. This year's celebration highlights the contribution of women through the lens of water. With a focus on achieving SDG Goal 6, clean water and sanitation, the celebration aims to bring together women in science and experts from around the world, high-ranking government officials, representatives from international organizations and private institutions to discuss the role of water in achieving the 3 pillars of sustainable development, economic prosperity, social justice, and environmental integrity. Science, technology, and innovations are critical to achieving the SDG Goal 6 by addressing the effects of climate change, increasing food security, improving healthcare, managing limited fresh water resources, and protecting biodiversity. Mr. Speaker, this day is a reminder that women and girls play a critical role in the science and technology communities and that their participation should be strengthened. Women and girls play essential roles in developing solutions that enhance people's lives and produce inclusive green growth that benefits everyone in the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, short-named STEM. Mr. Speaker, I'd want to use this opportunity to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of just a few powerful Ghanaian women and girls who are breaking barriers in a predominantly male-dominated sector and pushing young women to defy cultural preconceptions and achieve their aspirations. This includes our own Honorable Christina Mwako-Nyama, Dr. Letitia Obeng, Professor Angelina Febia Amedo, Larissa Akrofi, Professor Marian Asantua Nkansa, Dr. Eureka Emefa Adomako. I also want to mention the delectable Professor Elsie Ifa Kaufman of the Science and Maths quiz, and the amazing young girl who last year caught our attention and was highly celebrated by the country, and that is Francisca Lamini, for her role in the Math and Science quiz contest representing Kata Senior High School. Not forgetting also the contribution of Professor Marian Irama Adi and Esther Klu of blessed memory, among others. Mr. Speaker, despite the significant contribution of women and girls in science, a major gender imbalance persists across the world at all levels of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Women have made great strides in expanding their involvement in higher education, yet they remain marginalized in these sectors. From 1901 through 2021, only 23 women were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. That is not good enough. Mr. Speaker, my interest in this day is mainly because Ghana has, rightly so, been promoting STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Many people in the creative arts sector work within the technology space, and it is for that reason that I'm happy to recognize today and to celebrate it with the world. As Member of Parliament, one of the goals of my sensitization program in Ketu South is to promote equity and inclusion of girls and to empower them to develop their potential in STEM. This is evidenced in the skills and development project initiated by myself, made up of 12 modules, including ICT, to train and empower the youth, specifically women and girls in my constituency, at no cost to them. Mr. Speaker, I therefore urge all members of Parliament and stakeholders to identify and address the specific barriers that prevent female students from pursuing careers in STEM. We need to spark interest from the beginning, battle prejudices, train teachers to encourage girls to pursue STEM. Jobs will be created and many young people will benefit from it. Establish gender-sensitive curriculum, mentor girls and young women, and alter mindsets, change mindsets, so that we can embrace science and not be terrified of it, as I was when I was young. Respectfully, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity, and may the good Lord bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Yes, let me come to you, Honourable Member for Padaso.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute to this very important statement made by the Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Honourable Abla Jifa Gomashi, my very good friend. Honourable Speaker, this is a topic that, in my understanding, needs to be taken a very keen interest in and placed on the front burner. Mr. Speaker, I've examined some previous studies, and in those studies, I realized that when children were asked to draw an image of a scientist or a mathematician, girls were twice as likely to draw a male mathematician or a male scientist as compared to boys. Now, Speaker, this shows the time-tested perception that STEM programs are a preserve of males. That is why you see that at the earlier stages of development, you see that these disciplines are overly dominated by boys. But interestingly, when children are progressing on the academic ladder from the basic level to tertiary, you see that the girls start showing interest in the science programs. As we what I discovered when I was a teacher in the University of Ghana, psychology that I was teaching, we had the BSc and the BA, and I realized that the girls were performing better as compared to the boys. In most cases, those who had outstanding grade point averages with the speaker were the female students. The speaker, two critical factors contribute to the perception that the girl child or the female student is not capable of pursuing science-related programs. The first one has to do with stereotype, and the second one has to do with cultural beliefs. The speaker, and when we begin dealing with the issue of stereotypes, letting the girl child understand that they are also capable of pursuing STEM programs, then their interests soar and they begin to show, admiration for these programs. You hear society telling the girl child that, oh, this, you cannot do this. This particular math is for boys, science is for girls. And this undermine their confidence. The speaker, and I want to say that every person born, whether male or female, has a unique intelligent quotient that we refer to as IQ. We all have our individual IQs. The girl IQ is not different from the boy's IQ. So it means that, and Mr. Speaker, it's also interesting to note that the IQs vary. Somebody can have an IQ of 120, another person can have an IQ of probably 80. But what is important is how society, the teacher or the parents, will tell the child what they can do. And that's very important. So when we're able to deal with the issue of stereotype, we are more likely to increase the desire of the girl child to pursue these programs. So another issue has to do with culture. Culture has also undermined the interest of the girl child in pursuing these programs. So that's why teachers must understand that our responsibility, or their responsibility, is to pave the way for these girls to be able to pursue these programs. And in this country, what I've seen through studies I've reviewed is that the gender parity in terms of pursuing STEM programs is narrowing. And for me, it's a very good sign. So government, through the Ministry of Education, should put in place interventions to encourage the girl child in pursuing, science programs. And I'm happy to let us know that the STEM programs that this government is pushing is a way to achieve that. We need science. Science is a driver of progress. Science is a driver of development. And when we are able to channel more resources into that, Mr. Speaker, I think that the development that we are aiming for, we will be able to achieve that. And I want to use this opportunity to encourage every girl child, every female student to, as a matter of fact, begin to understand that what the male student can do, they as well can do. And in this country, we have demonstrable examples of females who have acquitted themselves so well in the science related disciplines. And I think that this is a step in the right direction. I want to once again pat the back of the Honorable Member of Parliament for Ketu South for this very important and timely statement, which I believe when we put the roadmap in place, we will be able to identify talents, hidden talents in some of these girls who probably might be the greatest scientists this country will ever produce. On that score, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the space granted me. I'm grateful.
Yes, Honorable Member for Eskuma Odombin Bravo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
For the opportunity to...
But hold on, honorable members, let me indulge you. The time is around 2 o'clock, so permit me to extend the sitting beyond the normal hours. Honorable member, you may go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for permitting me to comment on the very important statement made by Honorable Member for Ketu South, Honorable Jifa, on a very important day celebrated worldwide, that is International Day for Women. Mr. Speaker, let me begin with a novel titled African Child, written by Kamala Lai. In that novel, there was a child who was praying on the field. And the father was there, but the mother was a distance apart. At that field, the child was praying with a snake. He was holding a grass and was putting it in the mouth of the snake. The snake was swallowing the grass and gradually getting close to the hand of the child. To the child he was praying. But standby saw that something dangerous was going on. And when they started shouting, it is the mother, who is a woman, who was running fast to the place and shouting. Everybody was shouting, but according to the mother, Mr. Speaker, according to the novel, it was the mother who was shouting most. That tells you the love women have for their children. We were all brought forth by women. And, Mr. Speaker, in our rural setting, when you come to the villages, and those of us from the villages, how our mothers conducted themselves, there you see the norms in our women. When they are going to farm, particularly the farmers, they go with their husbands. The mother took part in the weeding, and at a point in time, our women will stop, go to the kitchen, prepare food for the husband. After that, they go and continue with the farming activities. They will go and fetch water or food, send it home, and the man will only be carrying if he has a gun on his shoulder, while the woman will carry a load of food and sometimes even firewood. When they reach home, this woman will go straight to the kitchen, prepare food. If they're in our rural setting, they will go a distance to fetch water to the house, give some to the man to take his wash down, and then you see him going to relax in a wooden sofa. It is the woman
who will be in the kitchen. Prepare everything, and then finally the food will be ready. They will all eat, and then in the evening, she will be washing everything while the man is relaxing. The man goes to bed first, and the woman will do all the household chores before retiring to bed. And sometimes, as late as it is, we will not even allow the woman to sleep. Mr. Speaker, I'm contributing. Mr. Speaker,
Honourable Member, you may go on.
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, so what I'm trying to arrive at is, women are so special. God created them to be so special. It is not for anything that the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, the Prophet said, and I quote, in the hadith of pilgrimage, which is long, said, they, women, have rights over you, the men, to provide them with their sustenance and clothing in a reasonable manner. That's Sahih Muslim. Book 8, Hadith 1153. Mr. Speaker, it is not for nothing that the Holy Prophet said, paradise is found under the feet of our mothers. It tells you how special women are. So, Mr. Speaker, in my constituency, for instance, when we have carved the accolade, and when we say women, the response is that that the women will respond, we are special. So women are special. And I think celebrating it, their day today, I want to add my voice. Gone are those days when women were restricted to the kitchen. Today, they are schooling and are performing even better than men. So let us give credit to the women, accord them their status in society, and with that, I think it will help all of us to achieve our targets. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Put off your mic. Yes, let me give our mother the chance to also contribute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement on the International Women's Day, ably made by my sister, the Member of Parliament for Ketu South. Mr. Speaker, the only plan I have for now on this statement is that virtually the House is like empty. This is a very, very important statement and a day that is worth celebrating by all of us. Much as I appreciate the fact that we wouldn't have all been here, but it's a day that most of us should have been here, if not contributing, but listening. But well, that's okay. Mr. Speaker, the issue of the woman has gone past those days when women were relegated to the back, seen to be only child bearers, attending to the kitchen, and doing only activities in the house. Mr. Speaker, we have come a long way. The opportunity has been given. The fact is, we only need to do more. And most of the things that are supposed to be done, we, the women who have been lucky or fortunate to have come this far, and others who are in other positions need to give that support. Mr. Speaker, let's go back to our educational system and look at the girl child who eventually becomes the woman that we are talking about. Mr. Speaker, if you start from class 1 or from the day nursery, the kindergarten for that matter, up till class 3, in most of the schools you would find that enrollment-wise, the girls normally outnumber the boys. Mr. Speaker, this happens especially in our villages. Until you get to class 3, still in the lower primary, when the girl child would have been growing up and being able maybe to carry water or go out to the market and support the mother, then the enrollment begins to change. The girl child is involved in other activities and is not in class. Mr. Speaker, parents need to understand, and we have a job to do, to continue the education that the girl child of yesterday is not the same girl child of today, simply because the opportunities are equal and the opportunities are there. If we say many a times girls or women are not into mathematics, science, and what have you, engineering, just to mention but a few, what support have we given them? What is the encouragement? Have we made them to understand from day one that they have the opportunity, they have the same potential, and they can also do exactly as the male colleagues do? Mr. Speaker, this should go back to our education system and make sure that from day one the girl child is propped up properly. Mr. Speaker, we're talking about the issue of stereotyping. I believe that all this is because there is no proper guidance and counseling. And if we take it seriously, there is no lady who would, or girl who understands what she actually wants to be, who will feel otherwise in doing whatever, or undertaking a job, or studying for what her interest is. And no matter what stereotyping you think you are doing, most people think that, especially those of us from the northern sector, and we the Muslims, we think that we do not have the opportunity. That is not true. It is that the understanding for which the girl child should actually be made to know is not there. I am a Muslim, I'm a born Muslim, I practice my religion, I have never been stopped. And yet we have those who believe that as a Muslim you cannot do this, you cannot do that. I'm from the north. I've got so many sisters who have gotten married. Culturally, their dowries have been paid, and they are what they are. So you cannot say that for one reason or the other you are not able to get to what you are. It is the understanding for them to know that yes, they have the opportunity and that they can use it. Mr. Speaker, we are talking of gender parity. Even in this, our parliament, this, our house, we are only lucky that this time round, in this 8th parliament, we have up to 40 female MPs. It took us time. We actually struggled to be here. And I believe that if every individual female MP is to be spoken to, we can assure you that, but for determination, struggle, and for the fact that we believe that women also need to be represented in this house, it has not been an easy thing. Even while we are here now talking, there are, excuse my language, there are men who are in our constituencies trying to unseat us. How many women can afford not only the knowledge, not only the spirit, not only the hard work, but the resources, Mr. Speaker, to go back there and fight? So definitely, we need the support, not only financially, but even for the education, for people to understand that, yes, women, we can, if you give us the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, the girl child in the middle, in the JHS, in the FSS, mostly from the JHS, and even some of them from 10 years today, would have started menstruating. They are from very poor families, Mr. Speaker. Most of them, especially in the villages. Mr. Speaker, to get even parts, sanitary parts, for them to use is difficult. I want to use this opportunity to state that the need for the sanitary pad for a lady or a girl is a need, is not a want. Government should support us by ensuring that it reinstates the issue of free distribution of sanitary pads to the girl child. And this would go a long way to help us. Mr. Speaker, I know time is fast spent, and I know there are others who may want to contribute. I want to just say that congratulations to all women worldwide, congratulations to all women of Ghana, and congratulations to my colleague women in Parliament here and all others in other positions for the hard work. And I'll say we should continue to fight and continue to put our bets. I thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable members, from Pusiga, I will move to Timpani before I come to leadership.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm most grateful for the opportunity given me to make contribution to this all-important statement on the floor of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the issue of science in our society cannot be underrated. And the issues of women in our society must be held in high esteem. Mr. Speaker, have you ever imagined you go to the hospital and a female medical officer is attending to you in a very soft language? Mr. Speaker, it is by their own effort that they get to that level. In this country, I have never seen it somewhere that they say somebody is studying science, and because the person is a female, let us give this person a special dispensation. And I think it is time that we look at it, that any female who wants to go into the sciences must be given special dispensation when they are entering into the university. Mr. Speaker, if you take the statistics from the secondary schools, you go to Addis Ababa, you get 40 boys getting AAs. When you go to girls' schools, Wessel Girls, Holy Child, girls are getting 40 of them are getting 8 A's to do science. But where do they end? We have never followed the statistics to know where these ladies end their lives. And I think it is time for us as Ghanaians to be much more interested in the activities of the female child as we do for the male child. Mr. Speaker, I am one of the beneficiaries of Science and Mathematics Clinic for Girls, and that is what brought me here. From that level, at the secondary school, I entered into the nursing training college and finally became a nurse and had BAc in nursing. It's because I had the opportunity to study science. That's why I became a nurse. It is time for us to encourage our girls. And I want to plead with members of parliament, those who have girl child or girl children, please encourage them, tell them that what men can do in the sciences, women can do better. I am very sad, Mr. Speaker, that today mark a day for women, girl children, women who are into sciences. I can name them. Dr. Hesse, the first female pediatrician in Kolebu in this country. Virtually, today, where is she? We are not hearing of her. People like that should be the role models for our girls that are coming up, so that they will see and push forward to where they want to be and to aspire to be more than our people or the women who have been in the sciences. Today should have marked a day with activities, serious activities in this country, to tell those who are into sciences or those who have gone into the medical schools, the electric engineers who are females, the chemists, the biochemists, all of them who are female, that they have done well, and to encourage those who are yet to go to do better. But today we are only talking about it in parliament. Who knows what is going on behind the scenes? Mr. Speaker, to conclude, it is my prayer that this House will begin to look at issues that will help us to encourage our girls in school until they become what they want to be. It is my prayer that teachers in the various levels of education will have special interest in the girl child, to encourage her, to tell her that she's doing well in science and mathematics, so that she can get to the level she wants to go. And we stop stereotyping that, oh, you are a girl, go to the kitchen. Girls are supposed to be in the kitchen. Why are you worrying yourself? You are a girl. Don't do this. Girls don't do that. I think some of the sentences that we use on our children, we have to look at it again and rather use language that will help them to be what they want to be. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yeah. Yes, honorable members, let me come to leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the statement ably made by Honorable Jifa Gomashi, MP for Ketisa, on this day, International Day of Women and Girl Child in Science. Mr. Speaker, she extended the day and added technology, engineering, and mathematics for our celebration of our ladies who have done well in the sciences, mass technology, and engineering. Mr. Speaker, she has mentioned few of our ladies who have done well, but forgetting some of our ladies who are in this house who have also done extremely well to become who they are today. One of them, Mr. Speaker, is an architect, and every architect we know that before you become an architect, you should be able to do very well in the sciences, mathematics, engineering, and technology. And one of them is Honorable Giselle Agbotui, Mrs. And I know quite a number of our colleague ladies who have done engineering and who are also doing well in our country. Mr. Speaker, we need to support our women. We need to support our girl child. We need to support any lady at all who decided to endure into this world called world of men. Mr. Speaker, back in those days in school, when you are doing other science or mathematics or engineering, you are seen as macho man. And when any lady in your class who decides to do sciences, they see her as somebody who is doing the work of men. But today, we are all proud to say that we have women who have done such courses and are doing very well. I heard there is one lady who is doing aeronautic engineering from Honorable Samuel Kujetu's constituency at KNUST. And that's a feat we all need to celebrate. That we have an aeronautic engineers, a lady aeronautic engineering student at the KNUST. Mr. Speaker, currently we need to celebrate two of our women who are the professors leading our top-notch universities. KNUST, Mr. Speaker, is headed currently by Professor Rita Akosia, who is a pharmacist. And then we also have Professor Nana Ikuya Amfo, also of University of Ghana. Women who have done very well and have risen to the top position in our academia. And so they need to be celebrated. In celebrating all these women, Mr. Speaker, we also need to encourage our young ladies, our children, our brothers, our sisters, who taught that science, engineering, mathematics, and technology is men's world. We need to encourage them that it's not men's world. Just as we have all these women rising to the top and doing courses that are seen as men's world, they could also do it. And so I encourage my daughter all the time that she can become a medical doctor, and she can do mathematics, she can do science, she can do all the courses that we have in science. And today I'm proud parent that she's doing science because I've encouraged her to do it. In my private office, Mr. Speaker, as a surveyor, I have 4 women who are working in that office. 1 architect, 3 quantity surveyors. Mr. Speaker, that tells you that if we encourage women to do courses that are, yes, I came to you and you gave me a certificate to operate. So, Mr. Speaker, when we encourage our sisters to do courses that are, seen as men-dominated courses, you are giving women the opportunity to affect society, because we have this adage in Ghana that says that what men can do, women can do and do better. And so let's encourage our daughters that are in various schools to contribute to society through science, mathematics, and engineering. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to colleague members of parliament that any lady in your constituency that is doing very well in any of these courses, especially in sciences, let's encourage them. If we have to give them scholarship, let's give them scholarship to go ahead to do it, because you would eventually have women who are nurses, women who are medical officers, women who are technologists, women who are computer engineers, computer scientists. You have women who become pharmacists, women in all spheres of life. That will affect your very life tomorrow. So I want to encourage all my colleagues that as we celebrate, Chocolate Day, let's resolve to support our girl child in the sciences. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Majority.
Mr. Speaker, when you said it's time for leadership, I heard loudly.
You heard?
When you said it's time for leadership,
yes,
I heard loudly the voice of the MP for Evaluate Ejura.
MP for?
Evaluate Ejura.
Yes.
Honorable Ako. So I want to cede my time for him. He added that first timer, and I was struck by the use of.
So you are ceding your time?
Yes, I want to, yes. So
very well. So, Honorable Member for, yesterday you mentioned your constituency.
Right, Honorable Speaker, it is Evaluate Ajomoro Jura, formerly Evaluate Jura.
Evaluate
Jura. Ajomoro.
Ajomoro.
That's Nzima, right? That is Nzima. I doubt whether he can speak Nzima. What?
Whether he can do what?
He can speak Nzima. Do you speak Nzima? So what is 8,888? 8,888. I've given you this lovely opportunity. Prove to your constituents you speak in Nzima.
And say what?
Mr. Speaker, I want him to prove to Ghanaians that he speaks in Zuma, without any difficulty. And I'm demanding of him, he should say 8,888 in Zuma. For this special privilege, Mr. Speaker, it's not easy for leader to see to a backbencher from the minority side. So this is the only condition I'm attaching to it, that you can really speak in Zuma. If you can speak in Zuma, prove to me.
Yes, honorable member, let me hear you.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think our leader, is trying to bribe a backbencher by asking him to speak his own dialect.
Honorable leader, take these things lightly. Honorable member, let me hear you.
Thank you, right, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I'll come to your office. That one is a private thing. Thank you, right, Honorable Speaker, once again. I wish to begin by commending the Honorable Member for K2 South for such a wonderful statement. Speaker, I'm very happy that aside the world's Women's Day, set aside by the United Nations, UNESCO has also come up with this special day, not for only women, but for women and girls in the sciences. I think it's a commendable day to celebrate. Because, right, Honorable Speaker, the UNESCO reports, as the honorable member said, 33% of the world's total number of researchers, only 33% are women. And when it comes to women in the sciences, it is only 12%. And also when it comes to women that have won the Nobel Prize in Science, it is only 23 out of 631. I believe that progress has been made, but there is more to do. Mr. Speaker, the story is different when you come to Africa, especially outside of the continent, where young women see the sciences as an area for men. Going around the constituency, for example, I met brilliant students, me being a former teacher, students that are so brilliant that they can take up science, but most have no reasons or excuse for which they should pursue these courses. And that is why I believe that this statement is important, and then it must be echoed down to all the corners of the country to inspire our young girls, to give them reasons why they must be interested in pursuing science. Because, Mr. Speaker, we go back to our constituencies, and when it comes to opportunities, it is mostly these young women. And the only options they bring up, it is hairdressing, dressmaking, choked. And so, many of these young girls that we have apprenticeship, they finish, and what do they do again? Mostly, after all this training, end up staying in the homes. Whilst if they had pursued these sciences, there would have been more opportunities. Mr. Speaker, being a scientist or studying science opens up a lot of opportunities, because with science, it can never be choked when it comes to opportunities. Professionals can be made through scientists, through the sciences. So I believe that we must encourage our young girls that it is not only about dressmaking, hairdressing, and those apprenticeships that we are most focused in, but giving scholarship and inspiring them, and also organizing small seminars in schools, in primary schools, in secondary schools, to inspire our young girls, to tell them that this world is bent on technology and science. So, right, Honorable Speaker, I'm very happy to have gotten a chance to contribute to such a wonderful statement. And I believe that it shouldn't end there. We must go down there to get the story down to the people. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. On that note, we have brought statement time to a close. I will respectfully come to leadership for indication.
Mr. Speaker, after conferring with all the three available leaders, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing more useful for consideration for today. Therefore, we are entirely in your hands.
Let me say that I have really enjoyed this morning's session with my good friend, Honorable Afenimaki, and to assure him that we are rooting for him. We wish him well. Mr. Speaker, the reason this is important is because I believe that a young Honorable Afenimaki has a chance to go places. We get worried when we hear rumors that there are forces gunning after his job. Honorable, we want to assure you, we are here. If you need any support and prayers, please. Just because on that note, I support the motion.
Very well. Honorable members, no, leader. You see, he says he's praying for you. You don't need prayers.
Mr. Speaker, I thank him. But I'm more concerned about his inability to speak his own Nzima language. 8,888. I dare you. Can you speak Nzima?
Honorable members, I would like to thank you for your cooperation throughout the week. We are bringing today's proceedings to a close. I will therefore adjourn the House to Tuesday, the 15th of February 2022. Please, what time are we sitting on Tuesday?
Mr. Speaker, if you'll be pleased, we have agreed to come at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yes, please.
So, honorable members, we are meeting Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.